Hey everyone, welcome back to the HexAsians channel. My guests are running a little late today, but today we're going to be talking about the PulseChain launch and the sacrifice phase and all that good stuff. So I will just make sure the stream is running and just kind of mingle with chat for a second. Hey, Balliot Brian. It's good to know that the YouTube chat's working. Thanks, man. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Been enjoying the daily Richard Hart streams lately in the mornings. Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of anxiously awaiting the pulse sacrifice phase, but I guess he's just kind of keeping us in the dark while he works out all the final details and stuff. And yeah, it's just fun to watch him like show off his watches and all that stuff. So yeah, well, looks like Yash is back, so I will bring him up. Hey, what's going on, Yash?
What's up, Vince?
Hey. What's going on, man?
I was actually about to take a little nap before you were like, hey, we got a stream in 30 minutes.
Kind of scared me there. Yeah.
And of course, Balliot Brand, always number one. I love that guy.
Nice. Yeah. He's everywhere. It's always the first commenter.
Yeah. Let me show this out to Twitter again.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah. What's up, everyone? It's my friend Michael. So an old gaming buddy of mine. I just barely got him into crypto, actually. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, Michael, how you doing?
Yeah, I helped him buy some hacks and stuff, and showed him the ropes. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Brand says it'll be nice when day one of sacrifice phase is started. Yeah, I can't wait. Like, I'm so anxious just to get it over with, and we still don't even have any details.
Yeah, I've enjoyed Richard's streams though, like these short short for Richard, right?
Just showing off all his watches.
Yeah, it's something to keep you busy while everything else tanks, and HexAsians are just like, yeah, whatever. I had a friend that he actually just doubled down. He was like, yeah, I just did a 10-year stake yesterday. And that's when like things were crashing and burning everywhere. And he's like, whatever,
Yeah.
He's like, and the fees were crazy. I don't know how much he paid, but they were in the GUI was like $300-400 at minimum, right? So he probably paid quite a lot. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, in 10 years I won't think about it. So
yeah. Shout out to Miss Exquisite all the way in Japan.
Hello.
We've got our next guest, Motley Investor.
What's up, guys?
Dude?
Molly.
What's up? I'm just trying to tweet this out real quick.
It's a nice green screen.
Thanks, bro. I don't usually use Restream, so I haven't messed around with it enough to adjust my background. So this is what you get.
What's up, Brennan?
Let's see. Let's tweet this out real quick.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Sorry, I was running a little bit late. I got a late start from work.
Yeah, you're good.
Or late finish.
Yeah, 4 more weeks. It's like 7 more days. The next 4 more weeks.
4 more weeks until you retire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are starting to get into that kind of it seems like that phase of just wait on the sacrifice phase. But at first I was like kind of okay with it. Now I'm just impatient as fuck. Like I'm just ready to go now. I thought I could be like patient about it, but like now I'm just like, yep, I'm ready.
Like each day goes by and like I just get more anxious to have it open up and just send all my liquid hex there.
I think I've gone the opposite way. Like I was really anxious, and now Richard has these like mini streams going on, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a good distraction. Let's look at your watches, right?
And that's exactly what they are too. Like he's looks like he's trying to go with he's attempting to get the algos on his side, these smaller streams, quick, easy, a little bit of a distraction potentially while he still figures out some of these game mechanics of Pulse, I imagine. But they're fun, they're enjoyable, they're different than what OG HexAsians have gone over the past 2, 3, 4 years.
And actually, like as much as we've all watched of Richard, I think we're like learning more about him when he does these kind of streams, because I think he mentioned maybe yesterday or the day before, like he spent some time in the Middle East. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he said when he retired and stuff, he spent some time in the Middle East. And it's just little tidbits, and it's like, we're getting to know Richard a little better in a different way.
I mean, I feel like I've gotten much more detailed and graphic imagery of what Richard has done on the longer 6 to 8 hour streams. But I mean, I didn't know he had gone to the Middle East a little bit, but I think he's pretty much traveled over most of the world, at least when he was younger.
Yeah.
Where are we sitting at today, boys? Oh, under 5 cents. You guys suck. Should be going to 10 cents right now. Soon. That it's gonna come quick.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna come very quick. as soon as that announcement is made, you guys better have. If you're playing games with being cheeky with USDC, and I had a decent amount of bag of USDC as well. But like, if you're out of Hex when that news gets released, and I imagine we go into our sacrifice phase quickly, you're gonna get left behind. You're gonna get smoked because we're going into that blow off top cycle on the market on top of the Hex, going into the sacrifice phase. I believe, anyways, going into the sacrifice phase and then PulseChain, like it's gonna get stupid. It's gonna get stupid real quick. You don't want to be out of position.
Yeah.
I don't play those games. It's
good.
Like, honestly, I made it hard for myself to like open up my computer that I have, my crypto on there and stuff. Like, it's a hassle for me to go through that. So it's like, I'm just not going to trade because I'm too lazy to go through the mess of, opening it up and starting things up, turning on the. That's enough OPSEC right there, but. Yes, I predicted in the HexAsians.
Brandon said, "Dump that shit."
Dump what?
Probably dump the Hexac and buy up more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've already deployed all my capital until this house ever goes through. That's like the last little bit of cash reserves I have left.
So where are you with that?
Oh yeah, it's still in escrow.
So. Title company still has to come through, and it just takes about a week or two. So I'm hoping our target was next week, but we will see. I wish it was. Yeah, I need cheaper Hex for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I got a little trigger happy before the Richard stream. I was like, man, maybe he releases Pulse now, so I would have had to deploy the last of my capital. But then he did it. I was like, dang it.
Trying to front run this stream.
Yeah, that's what you get when you're trying to be cheeky and like keep a little bit of reserves. It's just like, nope. I should have known better since he was releasing his watch today. That was a nice little clickbait for him.
Yeah.
I was disappointed it wasn't the Daytona Rainbow. That I could have sworn that's what it was going to be. I like it. It's a little bit too blingy for me, but I could have sworn it was going to be the Daytona Rainbow for sure.
What does a Daytona Rainbow look like?
I could probably look it up real quick. So it's Can you pull up a picture, Vince, or I'll do it? I'll do it real quick. Essentially, the big band is just it's a Rolex Daytona with sapphires, and they have essentially a rainbow gradient going around the bezel.
Yeah.
And when he said one, it was like the Rolexes of all Rolexes, and then he's like, I didn't buy the top one, I bought the second one. So I was like, okay, one of the most expensive ones, at least like that's still like retail or available, is going to be the Rainbow Daytona. And so I thought he got that. He just got the rose gold is the most popular. I thought he got like the white gold version, but he cheaped out on me. He got the GMT. he got the bedazzled GMT, which still looks very good, but wasn't exactly what I thought he was going to get.
I kind of like the one he has better than this rainbow one.
I mean,
I'm really a fan.
It's an acquired taste at that level, but I mean, clearly when you come on with a life preserver Louis Vuitton jacket with your Versace robe and bedazzled watches, you're just you're there to make a statement, and that's it. Yeah, I'm a little bit more conservative as well. Even the rainbow rainbow Daytona, I thought was way too much at first, but it kind of grew on me a little bit. It's just luckily for me, it's out of my price range or more than I'm willing to spend. I don't even know what that means.
They usually go for.
Who's Tekashi 69?
Oh,
he's just some rapper.
He's a rapper he has he's kind of funny. He's the one with like the colorful hair and just
okay.
Yeah, he has like 6ix9ine tatted on his face.
Nice.
I think he's funny.
Let's see.
What was I gonna do?
Okay. Yeah, adopted Asian. That's right. It's okay, guys.
I mean, you married one.
I've been adopted. I've been adopted into the culture, so it's good. I eat more Asian food and probably more Asian culture than these two, anyways.
I don't eat any Asian culture.
Exactly. See, these two guys up here are Americanized. All right.
Yeah.
I fully embrace the Asian culture.
Yeah.
Watch steaks all the time.
I go to temple, chant with the monks, eat pho, you name it, I've done it. Let's see.
Yeah, haven't been to temple in I don't know, long time.
Yeah, we were only there because her grandfather passed away. So when you have a relative that passes away, you go to temple every Sunday for the next 7 days to kind of send them on their path. So we were doing that. Yeah. Life comes at you fast. I know. I can't remember what Hexagon was, but they tweeted out. They recently lost their younger brother, and it's crazy because especially people like that when they're not old and you don't really expect for them to pass away, sucks. Yeah. And I was talking, giving my condolences and stuff, and he just said, because I mentioned I couldn't imagine my younger sister passed away. Tell him you love him and make sure you talk to him every day because you really don't know when's that last day is going to be. Can come out of the blue someday. So make sure your stakes are taken care of. don't let your family just go without. Right? You should have someone in your family that you trust. Most people do, and you want them to be prosperous and well off. I'm sure most of us will take care of them, but if something ever happens to you, make sure they know how to access your keys, how to actually do it. Start giving them those basic instructions now in education.
And this isn't financial advice, but maybe you want to share your seed words with somebody you trust.
A lot. Trust a lot.
I haven't done that yet, but moments like these, it makes you think.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm thinking me and a couple of Hexagons are thinking about pulling our money together for the sacrifice chamber so we can be a little bit of a larger player, depending on what the details are going to be as far as a multiplier or maybe an increased percentage based off your USD value they come in with. A couple of us have thought about pulling our money together.
To try to get into the gold, silver, or bronze tiers,
just a higher tier, whatever those bonuses end up being. That's what we're considering. It would have been cool if I know Kyle back in the day did the dollar cost averaging contract where all the Hexagons go back in. I believe you were in events. I don't know. Were you in it, Yashdeep? You were in it as well, right?
No, I didn't do the dollar cost. No.
Okay.
I did actually. Yeah, I was in the DCA contract.
It would actually be interesting, Vince, if I know we were talking. I know because I kind of just joined the group just to learn about it. I wasn't a part of it, but I know there's some chatter in there recently. It would be interesting if I know Kyle's so damn busy, but if he could just make a simple smart contract where you don't need a DCA because obviously with gas fees it would be crazy. But just a smart contract that's trustless where everyone can enter their money into a giant pool, and then everyone in the community could have a chance to become essentially a giant whale, or at least essentially vie for that #1 gold tier as far as extra bonuses and stuff. That'd be kind of cool. And then it allocates accordingly to everyone that came in. That's right, Wendy's.
No.
Get back to making him them tendies,
All right.
Vince.
Now it's time to bring on our next guest, John Wick. Hey.
What's up, John?
So,
Hey guys,
how you doing?
how's my audio?
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Pretty good. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, great.
All right, cool. What's happening?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Talking about delayed sacrifice phase right now. And yeah, I'm starting to get a little anxious. I'm ready. Even though I said I wanted it to be right, at this point, I'm just like, man, this would probably be the most optimal time to be released, in my opinion.
So what are you thinking, like a couple days?
Yeah.
I would like that, right? Because I mean, even now we kind of missed a brief window. It would have been cool if we could have launched the sacrifice phase right in the middle of all the death. We've honestly had a very healthy bounce, and so the entire market's green. But it would have been nice to kind of go into that sacrifice phase when everyone's dying. And then obviously Hex did really well. We had a green candle there for a while and resisted the dump. But man, can you imagine if we just had an absolutely insane green candle during that bloodbath? Like that, that's your advertisement right there. That's what garners eyeballs at the end of the day. But I would like a couple days. I would like a couple days for sure.
My idea I just had earlier today was, why don't we do like expand the groups that get bonuses for Pulse to just cover more people, so then it's more engagement, so people are going to be checking it every day, seeing them move up and down, as opposed to just the top 2 or 3 wallets. What do you think about that?
So is that what's online right now, or is it more of just so I know he always keeps bringing up his tier system between like gold, silver, and bronze. Is it really just duking it out for single positions for wallets, or is it going to be a bracket based off of maybe this amount of USD value for this bracket, and this amount of USD value for this bracket, and this amount of USD for this bracket? Or I didn't necessarily think the tier system was going to be based off just a single wallet or a couple wallets. I thought it was going to be broadened up to more people to begin with.
Okay,
Yeah,
so go ahead.
I heard about the single wallets too, and so
I missed that one.
I've heard both things, and I could see it go either way, but I would prefer it not be exclusive to just 1 or 2 to 3 wallets. Like that would suck. I agree with John. Like more participation would bring more eyeballs.
Yeah,
because it breeds the same thing as Staker app, right? Like when you have all the different sea creature ranks and you can actually see yourself physically moving up in the ranks and stuff, that gives you that competitive drive and makes you want to put more in. But if you literally have it limited to a couple wallets, then you're not going to be able to outposition real whales in this game. Oh, I missed. What was Brennan's first comment?
He says split evenly 33% each.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. I mean, we still would probably struggle to get into that gold tier, but some of us might be able to get into silver, and then bronze I mean, everyone should be at some sort of tier, at least for coming in during that phase of the cycle, coming in maybe slightly earlier before we have another giant pump, maybe towards the end of the sacrifice phase. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think spreading out the tier system to the masses as opposed to a select few spots would be more ideal, because obviously we're just not going to be able to compete at those whale games.
And I like seeing where I stand in the system, like with the Staker app and with the Hex.Vision staking leaderboard and the AA leaderboard. Like during the launch phase of Hex, it was really fun to see where you stand relative to everyone else. And then you can adjust your game plan, because like 30 days is still a long period of time to make decisions on what you want to do with your DCA bag, so you have plenty of time to assess. It's just like how much FOMO are you going to be feeling throughout the phase? And then how much are you willing to sacrifice Hex, in general? So it's like, I'm thinking about that now. It's like, it's tough to sacrifice it because it's so bullish. But Pulse is also extremely bullish. So Yeah.
So to piggyback off that, what do you think so let's just say sacrifice phase 30 days. I know there's 3 days at the end for tallying and everything, but so let's say over the next 30 days from the point of Richard saying the sacrifice phase is starting and giving us all the details, the initial start, and then all the way throughout to 30 days, how do you think prices, the hex price in particular, is going to act accordingly to the sacrifice phase and all the steps from the moment Richard releases all the details and gives us a start date and then the end? How do you think the hex price is going to react?
I don't know, man. That's a great question. I think everyone assumes it's very bullish, and I've been looking at some of the wallets that have been selling, and they're mostly small to mid bags. There was one guy that unloaded like 7 million or 6.2 million by himself, and then currently there's a wallet that holds like 220 million hex that's been selling 2 million chunks for the last few days to a week. So like there's still some of these wallets that we have to shake out, and it's to be determined what they do with this hex. Like, is the 200 million guy planning on sacrificing most of that, or is he just going to slowly dump that as it pumps into sacrifice? So it seems like he might be doing that, or do a combination of the two. So overall, though, always bullish on hex, especially with sacrifice and the swapping. But like, what percentage of people do you think have swapped all their coins to hex already? Like, it seems like there's already been a big move.
So I had a very large USDC position that I put in about half. I snagged at 4 cents. So real quick on this, with Brendan saying, like, I mean, honestly, I think we should do the sacrifice phase just like the stake wrap. We already know it works, right? Just put the exact same leagues that you did with stake wrap, put them into the sacrifice phase, be done with it. Like, I think that'd be a good option.
Yeah.
But as far as the USDC, I did have a large position in it, and I dumped half my bag in at 4 cents, and I may have preemptively pulled the trigger like right at like 4.9 cents right before Richard's stream, just to see if I could catch it if he released the information. Didn't get quite so lucky, but I had a very large position for a while there. But I mean, I'm happy to stay in hex right now and not be out of the run up if we do start taking off, because the moment Richard releases that, price is going to go nuts.
So I think we had a lot of attention before this dump. I think we had a lot of attention towards Hex and Pulse. And then with this latest dump, I think some of the attention came off of that. And so I agree with Motley that if we could have started the sac phase right when this was happening, like that would have, kept everyone's attention coming into Hex. And so people that would have sacrificed, that haven't converted their coins, like instead of dumping them, they would have sacrificed them. So still potential to do that. I'm sure a lot of people are holding.
Got the 10 million USD worth of Hex left.
Oh, is this the 2 million piece wallet? Okay.
Yeah. So he's got a big bag, all liquid. He takes big bags of Bitcoin, USDC.
There was I think there was another wallet like that too that had about 6 million, give or take, value of Hex, that they kind of had the same strategy, right? They just continuously kept dumping about 2 to 3 million pretty frequently until they just ran through it. So I have a feeling it could even be one of the whales that has multiple wallets that could be maybe this is the Hex they're willing to give up for the sacrifice phase, and they're securing their USDC positions just to be safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have Bitcoin too. It seems like they'll sacrifice Bitcoin. Yeah. I would assume that's why it's sitting there. Otherwise, why hold it there?
I agree.
Or get the copy on Pulse too. Actually, that's what we'll probably do. Because that's the crazy thing to me is like we'll get wrapped Bitcoin on Pulse too.
That's wild. That the wrap stuff like that's interesting.
Yeah. Has anyone talked about that?
No, I don't think we've touched on it too much. If you want to go ahead, go.
No, I just thought about it the other day. Like, it's one of the interesting things that I've been thinking about is like how the derivatives of a derivative work on a different chain.
Yeah, like I mean,
It's like 2 parts removed.
For RAT BTC, let's say it's like REN, right? Does REN have to be on board for that RAT BTC on PulseChain to still be pegged to its value? I would think it would have to be. I don't know, because all that stuff is still custodial. When you give them your Bitcoin, they wrap it. Like I feel like they would have to actually like accept that on Pulse as well. I don't know, it's just like one too many layers at that point. I wouldn't mess with it until I was more confident. What did Coffee mention about RAT BTC?
This one too.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to make that play where I wrap my Bitcoin just to see if I get it. Well, I guess you got nothing to lose if you have Bitcoin. Might as well wrap it and see if you can get more money out of it.
Marcavelli says, "Stop doxing him, John."
So go to this wallet. This is the guy that sold 6.25 million to USDC.
Okay. I think this is the one I was following.
Go to his ERC20 tokens.
Yeah, that is him actually.
Go to the tab.
I wonder if this is the same person. I have a feeling that it might be.
The transactions. So 2 to the right of the ERC20 transactions.
Right,
right there. Yep.
Okay, so scroll down. So the spreadsheet that Richard tweeted, I actually did that like quick Excel spreadsheet, just calculating how much Hex he sold over the last 2 weeks, and then how much USDC he received. So he did other transactions in between, but he consistently sold like a couple million every hour for a while, and then he would take a break and sell, every hour. So he sold a total of like $6.25 million worth of USDC at around 1.5 cents or so. And then we pumped to 6 cents, almost 7 cents.
Yeah.
Now we're, consolidating at 5. So it's like he's already down almost 3x what he could have sold. So even though we absorbed all that sell pressure, we even pumped beyond 3x beyond that. That's how much buying pressure we're having lately with the sacrifice stuff and the just new people hearing about it. Like I have people that I've onboarded are now onboarding other people, like just without my consent or like.
Oh, they need your consent, John? Jeez. Did I give you the you don't have the golden pass yet, I'm sorry.
No, I just don't trust these people to do it right. Like, like securely and safely on their own. Like, I just don't trust it at all. Creating a Coinbase and sending it to the MetaMask, I don't trust it. So
I talked about that the other day. I brought a couple of my guys I've onboarded, and I was onboarding another one I did like on live, and I let my onboarder the people I onboard the new guy and just kind of sat back and watched them field the questions and step in if they didn't get something quite right. But like you can pretty much if you have onboarded like intelligent people or they've done enough research, like they become their own onboarders. They start bringing on new people. It's that network effect where, like John said, they just do it without your permission.
Bullshit.
They didn't get knighted before they sent them out into the wild.
Blessing. Yeah,
but I mean, it's gonna happen regardless. And I told a story. I think it was on our Knights of the Crypto show, where I'm finishing up my contract with the Navy, and I'm doing recruiting for my shore command. And I'm in my high school, and I think when I was talking to the kids, I briefly mentioned that I'd invested in cryptocurrency. And one of the kids was interested in it. So like him and I went off to the side and just started talking about it. And he was was pretty impressed because I thought he was just going to pull out Robinhood or something. And he actually knew about MetaMask and Exodus and had his own possession of his own coins. And then we're like talking about portfolios. So I was going over his stuff. And then I asked him, I was like, yeah, my main holding's Hex. He's like, you got Hex? I was just like, yeah. he's like, yeah. He's like, I like Hex. I was like, do you have Hex? He actually had Hex. He had heard of it. And I was just like, I thought he was just doing it to be like, one of those things where like, to be like the cool kid, like, yeah. Like I got that. Yeah. And he's like, no, he's like, one of his crypto Discord groups, had been talking about it, and he had picked some up. And it was just during that run up we had from like 1 cent to about 5, or I guess we went up to about 7 to 8 cents on a couple of those wicks. But during that run up, it was a lot of publicity, and a lot of the, I guess the rest of the crypto space and everything was talking about Hex, and he had gotten it from a Discord group that he was just a part of, a crypto discourse group. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Wait until he sees your live streams.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, I know that guy.
Yeah. No, I think I made him subscribe to me. It's like, pull out your phone.
Did he subscribe to Looking Into Crypto? Because we need that golden chart.
No, sorry. You guys missed your opportunity. You guys were close to getting him 1,000 on stream. You guys were like 26 short, 28 short. But I mean, he's at 1,000 now, so it's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too that he would release. What's that?
Wait, Motley, did he stake?
Who?
Your friend that you were surprised at Hex?
So no, he hadn't done like enough research into it, right? Like it was just like a coin that was like pumping, and it was a very basic play of like, oh, this thing looks cool and it's pumping, I'll buy into the pump.
Yeah.
But I told him about go.hex.com, and I told him to hit me up, and I'd help him out with it. So we exchanged information, and I'll probably go back to that school, and I'll probably reach out to him in person. But yeah, he said he knew about the staking future, but he just hadn't staked it yet. So again, that education part is really important with Hex, because it's not as intuitive as we think it is now, because we've been in the system for so long.
Yeah. There was a really good question by Blackwing. Seems like, yes, I think we can answer this one.
Yeah.
It's not any ERC20. There'll be a list. But, that list will probably be, when everything else gets released, I'm sure that list will be released as well. And yes, it'll accept the current USD value with a time-weighted average. And then the mechanism from sacrificing to getting your pulse, that's still not quite ironed out and determined. So once we get the details, we'll share that.
I can tell you that ERC20 that you sacrifice should be Hex. Whatever bag you got, trade it over.
Yep.
If you're really hurting for money, hit me up, and depending on how large your bag is, maybe I'll pay for your gas fee.
There you go. Motley doing the good work.
Wow. Yeah. Impressive. Yeah.
No, but like the reason why Motley's saying is because the lower liquidity coins are more likely to pump harder. And if it's measured in USD value, then you might as well put it into something that has more potential to pump. Like if you were to, put money into Ethereum, you're not going to move the market at all unless you have massive amounts of money. So, but if you put your money into Hex, it's more likely to move. So it benefits you to have a higher USD value by getting into Hex.
Bitfinesse, that was not a rug pull. You guys didn't. You guys didn't meet the demand. It was 1,000.
You didn't get Wasabi to 1,000 subscribers.
End of the stream. Yeah. We went till midnight or whatever the designated time we set, and you guys didn't get it. I told you guys are only going to be able to rug yourself if you don't get Wasabi there in time. So it was a self rug pull. I guess you can call it that. Hexos was different. His was an actual rug pull for his health. Yeah. So he could continue to stream for everyone. So those are both welcomed rug pulls, because at the same time, the only reason he really doesn't release the golden chart is because there are some price points with Hex over this coming year that he doesn't want to be run by whales. He doesn't want that to be front run. So Overall, it's for your benefit, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I think it's just fun for us to give you guys credit for it.
It is fun. It is fun. Yeah, we probably will make a stupid NFT out of it or something. Just like send it out there.
I think the only thing we need to know is the chart bullish?
It's very bullish.
There we go. That's all we need to know.
It's very bullish.
Probably the most bullish chart out there.
No, that would be like Gunther's chart or something. That'd be like Gunther's predictions or Whale's $10 prediction, or I'm trying to think of Who other big predictions we got in the community?
Or Orbit's $7.
Abit's $7 for sure. Yeah, but I think like Gunther's was like $3 by the end of the sacrifice phase. So yeah,
I think in July it was like $3.
John's like, yeah, I ain't sacrificing any hex.
So
that is
crazy.
Gunther. One thing that's also been nice, like this dip, like when that guy sold too, like there's been so many penalties. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, like our payout every day has been significantly increasing. And I just looked on TextVision. In the last 60 days, there's been 153 million hex and penalties. Like, so now that's a USD value of that now is lots of money. It's millions of dollars.
What's our hex per T-share payout been going? Has it been substantial enough to see an increase in that, or just by like a couple?
It's been going over 6.
Yes, I've noticed that it's been staying over 6 pretty consistently, which is nice.
Yeah, for example, yesterday was 6.2.
Okay.
Because there's some large unstakes, but today is also 6.04. So usually it's around 5.7.
Right.
So like we're getting that's a significant jump in payout in a given day. Like it's pushing our APY over 40% now.
If it's not the equivalent of a CM payout, not interested. I need that 13 hex per T-share, please. God, can you imagine having another one of those days? That would be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Or just fast forward like 7 years from now, it'll be that every day.
Yeah. Crazy just because of the economic mass they've created and the fact that your T-shares are essentially become that much larger in a shrunken pie of T-shares. So down the road, we'll definitely get more days of that for sure.
Plus, and you'll have it on Pulse too. So you have 2 sets of,
and you want to bring up your Ethereum 2.0 and let everyone know that they'll potentially have 3 copies of Hex now.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Actually,
that's a good segue to that.
Yeah. Everyone I've talked to who's smart in crypto has said that it's most likely going to be a contentious fork when ETH 2.0 launches because the miners want to retain their share and then the other people want the new thing. Yeah. So if that's the case, and if that's let's say 80% likely that happens, then we're going to get another copy of our Hex. So that's another incentive not to sell your ETH and just bail on that and go to Pulse. Albeit, I do think that Pulse should outperform Ethereum by a lot.
For now,
based on common sense and logic. But who knows? Anything could happen because ETH could still do really well with whales, or if we just grow and some people just want to use Ethereum. I can understand that. Like if institutions don't want to use Pulse, like that makes sense to me. Like it's okay if they just want to use ETH and pay the fees. And if there's another bear market, the fees should go down, and the ETH 2.0 should solve the fees a little bit.
The landscape just changes too dramatically over time to just throw away all those T-shares on the Ethereum side. Like to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I know we talked about it earlier where Hex Line has a very contentious position where he just believes it'll have very little value. And I don't see it. I think you might get an initial dump closer to the point of maybe PulseChain releasing. But I think after a while, I think it'll recover to be worth a significant amount of money because like John said, the landscape changes, whether it becomes a bear market, whether Ethereum 2.0 fixes it, there's going to be a lot of things that take place where the Ethereum Hex is still going to have a lot of value. And the fact that alone that it might end up being another doubling of your Hex, like Hex is turning into the new Bitcoin with all these copies you're going to start getting. It's just going to continue to make more and more money if you actually retain that Hex, retain those T-shares. I mean, you're going to be forced to retain those T-shares. So that's save yourself from yourself and stake it. You'll thank yourself
something I'm more likely to do is here we go again.
There go your boys.
Next day.
Yeah, basically. So something I was thinking is on the ETH side, as long as like fees are high or probably always be higher than on the Pulse side, I would just use that system to stake out further and just get more T-shares instead of, trading, taking profit. I mean, this is just a thought. I don't know what the prices will be. I'm sure it'll fluctuate. At some point, we'll probably have a bridge, yada, yada, yada. But just to secure that network and just continue to put out further and further while having, a copy of everything on Pulse. And then whenever ETH 2.0 launches, play these 3 different ecosystems a little differently for all of them, but be open to change when it comes.
Price appreciation.
Philosophy. Oh.
Yeah, man, I really am ready to kick this off. I'm getting impatient.
I'm happy to wait.
I know. I mean, I guess I should be happy to wait because like I'm still waiting on my house to settle, so I should shut the fuck up and just wait and enjoy the opportunity to keep accumulating more. But eventually, I just
accumulating fiat.
Yeah,
accumulating fiat. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have more to sacrifice.
I think there does become a point though where if we don't get it released within a certain time window or a time frame, we start losing out on the opportunity that's there. So I don't want to extend it out so far where we start missing the window of that bull market, that blow off top, everything like that. I think that's very crucial for this adoption because what good is PulseChain's obvious. I want PulseChain to gain the adoption before we go to the bear, essentially. So I think time is of the essence, regardless of how much more fiat I can bring in. So I think there's a reason why Richard's putting these hard time limits on himself because he realizes that we got to strike while the iron's hot at this point. Too much opportunity cost to continue to delay it out. You have to, even if you don't get the game theory quite right, especially for the sacrifice phase, right? Like, because he's already mentioned that's not the biggest of deals. Like, obviously there's ways he can perfect it, maybe make it a little bit better here, a little bit better there, but eventually what are you doing? You're just giving up more and more time and more opportunity costs for releasing it sooner. But I think he's also on the back end trying to get PulseChain aligned as well, so we don't have as much of a wait by the end of the sacrifice phase to go into the release of PulseChain. So I think he's trying to make sure they're both the right distance along.
Yeah, I mean the end game is the chain, and having the chain be functional and work perfectly as it's intended. Like the end game isn't the sacrifice lobby, optimizing the sacrifice lobby. Who cares? Like it just has to be fair and equitable. Besides that, what matters is the devs doing the actual code,
right?
Making sure it works and testing it. Like it seems obviously Richard knows what he's doing. He's focusing on the right things that he should be focusing on. Like mentioned, that's why he didn't go to the Lex Friedman thing. Because he's like, he needs Pulse out before that. It just makes sense. But it was just funny. Some of the guys were fighting. Like Richard was abandoning the project and going all in. And
abandoning what? Hex?
Yeah, for Pulse.
People are retarded.
It was one of the early floods.
They really are.
And
he's like, he's one of the guys who's like all in Hex too. So he's just like, why are you fudding your bag, dude? Like,
it's either two options, right? It's either the person is retarded, or they're intentionally fudding you so they can just continue to increase their position. So it's one or the other. They're both equally as bad. One is manipulating you, and the other one's just they're retarded. So I hope for their sake, it's manipulation FUD and not they actually think that.
No, it was hilarious. He posted like a long list of why too. It was like why this is bad for Hex, why this sucks. Like we should be focusing on Hex. And then Richard, and it ultimately ended in that GIF he always posts of the guy doing the Special Olympics. No, I think Richard's classic response to the comments,
dumb questions. Yeah, I think Richard's married these two very well. Whereas it doesn't give Hex an unfair advantage as opposed to any of these ERC20 tokens, but it does, right? Like it works perfectly with our price pumping. It works perfectly with Hexicans are going to have the most up-to-date insider knowledge to maximize their Pulse tokens. Like HexAsians will come out of this process on top and leagues ahead of everyone else. So like it's done, but it's also done well where at the same face value, everyone has a fair level playing field, but HexAsians should be able to capitalize on the sacrifice phase and PulseChain better than anyone else outside of our community. So, and just watch your hex bags as we go throughout the sacrifice phase. I think your tune will change. I think it's going to be very good for hex.
Anyone want to take a go at this question?
I don't know, but I could tell you Ethereum started off at like $1.25, right? Back in 2015. Was it August or September?
No, it was less, of like 30 cents.
Was it? Okay. But yeah, I guess I was trying to find a.
I think the ICO price was 30 cents.
Yeah. The lowest anyone would show was 125, but like 30 cents. Okay, that's a good start. And if the pulse is, increased by 10,000, I don't know.
Was it? Yeah, it was like 2.5, 2.6 cents roughly. I think initially.
Okay.
That might be adjusted with how they're having to adjust the liquidity pairs. I don't know, but I think it's going to be roughly around that. But at the same time, does it actually have value if there's not a bridge initially on launch? I don't know.
That's a good question.
There has to be. There's going to be a bridge, I think Richard already said.
Right. I mean, there's definitely going to be a Pulse to ETH bridge for sure. And then I know he was talking about between the two hex. And then at that point, then it's just like, all right, I guess maybe if we do that at that point, there's just a bridge between all the tokens. But is that the route he's going to go? Has anyone stayed up to date to see if he's talked more on bridges? Because I've been out of the loop for the past week or so.
I was trying to keep up with the chat, but
I haven't heard anything.
My question with the bridges is like, isn't it still going to be expensive then if you have to bridge back to ETH because ETH fees are still really high? So
that's why you want to get them across the bridge and allow them to just stay on the other side of the pond once they get over there. Because yes, I think you would just be subject to the fees again. Obviously, you get to do whatever you want to do on the good side, and then when you come back, it's still just one transaction. But yeah, you want them to stay on the other side of the pond. So it's like,
I mean, that's the one thing I didn't like about using a Matic and quick swap.
Yep.
Because the fees ended up pretty much being the same if I had just bought the hex off of Uniswap. So.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But I mean, when I was over there, I stayed and like I liquidity farmed, so that was nice. I know Richard's looked into that, and while I was over there, I stayed over there. I was content with the hex bag that I brought over there to provide liquidity and everything like that. But yeah, when you go back, like for whatever reason, for us, it was a lot of us weren't too happy with QuickSwap anymore. So you don't really go back to it again. So it's just like,
So we might not know what the price of Pulse will be, but Richard did mention that, and I don't know the details of this. He just mentioned that the system will have a price discovery for all the other tokens. So the problem was that if you increase the supply by 10,000, and everything is right now priced in ETH, when you have this increased supply, will everything just be super cheap on Uniswap, and then the first mover advantages go in and buy everything? But he alluded to the system basically addressing that. I don't know how the system will, but everything else should have a price. We should have price discovery on the PulseChain.
What's up, Joe? ETH is
the
Joe. Dark side.
What's up, Joe? Sonic? I don't know.
Dump is happening.
Oh,
damn!
Looks like
you guys have a reputation for hex dumping.
Damn it!
That's not
doesn't
good.
dump on our morning shows.
It's my fault. I jinxed it in the HexAsian Telegram group. I was like, it's gonna pump during our live stream, and
that's an instant way to get the dump.
Like, nah.
It's all.
He's
all.
zooming out. Like, look at the V1 chart. It's just look at the chart. Like every now and then, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's all good.
Down.
It's all going to be irrelevant here shortly. I really do believe so.
Yeah, people are like, we crashed, and we're like, we corrected from an exponential move up. That's all that happened.
Yeah. So when I was trying to buy my buy my large USDC to Hex bag at right at the 4-cent level. And I was, since I was essentially in trader mode at that point, I was watching all day. I just had my computer at my desk and I was looking at it, and that 4-cent level was so heavily defended. There must have been so many limit orders. The depth of the limit orders was like crazy. And like, I still don't even think my order completely filled at 4 cents. I think I got to like 88% of my order filled before eventually we took back off and started heading towards 5 cents. So there's a lot of resistance at 4 cents. At least there was that day. And then even 5 cents today, we were holding pretty strong there for a while.
In V3 or V2?
I don't know. I was on Matcha. I was watching on Matcha essentially because that's where I had my limit orders set.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, we're 485 right now.
Yeah. I'm just ready for it to take off because as soon as Richard releases that information, it's going to shoot up. Like I think we go up to 8-10 cents pretty quickly, and man, if we can break through that mental barrier of 10 cents pretty rapidly, it's just off to the races at that point.
10 cents was a dream, dude. Like before the launch, it was like when we were talking about like the game theory of Hex and everything, it was like 10 cents was the dream.
Yep.
And I can't believe it's like only a 2x away.
I remember some of the earlier streams, like where we talked about that, and like Abit would get pissed at us. He's like, "Guys, $7." Like, we guys talking about 10 cents and a quarter. He's like $7. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's not wrong, right? It is that valuable, and it will get there someday, and potentially a lot quicker than a lot of us think. But yeah, it's cool, right? Because every time of the way, I think we've gone faster than what most people expected, except for our occasional moon boys.
I mean, when I first got into Hex, I was like, if we get to a penny,
penny was the dream. Yep.
Yeah, I was like, man,
penny was
so happy. And look at us now.
It's funny how your perspective really starts to shift, and you have to keep taking a step back, especially the longer you've been in Hex. Like, well, I remember when I could buy it for like 0.00056 cents or whatever.
Back in my day.
Yeah. And so then you're like, it's when you continue to just dollar cost average, you always have to take a step back and look at where we are with the ecosystem of Hex, and all these new eyes, all these new people coming in Hex. Like this is their floor now. They're looking at that 4 to 5 cents as that nickel is essentially their floor now, and it's become the new heavily guarded price target right now. So it's just up from here. And once we break through that, I really do think once we break through that 10 cents, gloves are off. Like we're going to 20 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents very quickly.
Our 1 cent is their like $1. So
yeah.
And that's not even, the same multiple, but like, we came from, 0.00056, right? So, they're looking at $1 for the near short term, and then they're looking at, a lot more after that. So
with everything that we have lined up, I think we hit $1 by the end of the year. I think we really do. At least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think we do, John.
Is that your high target, or is that your like medium? Like, what's your confidence
I
level?
don't want to narrow it down too much since my eyes have laid upon the golden chart. But I think we could secure $1 pretty easily by the end of the year. I think we can.
Like a wick, or you think?
No, not a wick. Not a wick. Not a wick.
So like trade at those levels.
Yep.
Wow.
Let's just cool off a little bit here. Oh god. Yeah, it's kind of hard to even imagine like what we even do with like some of our bags. Like it's so much money, right? And then it really does get to that point where a lot of the Hex OGs, yes, they'll take some profit, but they'll do it intelligently, right? They'll set limit orders. They won't hurt the price. They have to skim off very little of their interest, and they'll. Can you imagine where our mindset's going to be? Where like you're sitting there and your Hex is now worth $1. I don't want to give that shit up. Like I want that. I want more T shares. So I'm going to be continuing to just cultivate and grow those, and just take what I need and then move on. Because most of us have our ladders in place already, and we'll just be good arbiters of the price and the community moving forward. and then eventually just fade away when we're just like fucking billionaires. Like, all right, we had it. You guys got it. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, like you could also just become an angel investor in the space. So like if PulseChain is a success and there's all these projects built on Pulse, like you could just be an angel investor in these projects. And like if you're still interested in crypto, you can support the projects, become a whale in these projects, and then ultimately hopefully do well or do good with that whale status. You know, like
you become an
you don't have
Ethereum
to
whale.
exit entirely. Yeah, or an Ethereum whale. Like you don't have to exit crypto entirely, even if you're a whale.
Yeah, I mean that's what the opportunity you're given with PulseChain. I know a lot of people are have kind of like, again, back to like fighting themselves out and a little bit pessimistic, but I mean, you have an opportunity to become a PulseChain whale, and guess what, guys? It's going to be a superior version of Ethereum. We're gonna front run. It's that first to market. It's huge. It really is. Look how well it's served Bitcoin over the past decade, and it sucks.
ESC too, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were one of the first, and they're doing really well. Regardless of the scams and stuff, they're doing really well.
Exactly. So it's going to be a superior product to Ethereum. It's going to be deflationary. It's going to be first to market. It's going to be the largest airdrop of all time. There's too many marketing key points and huge milestones that PulseChain is going to do before anyone else. I think people are going to be very surprised with the kind of adoption and news and attention that PulseChain gets. And I know personally, I'd like to secure as much of a position in it as I can without also giving up my hex to some degree as well. So it's going to be a balancing act for me.
Yeah. I mean, I have more liquid than I really need. So for me, it's just going to be, whatever I need to like live off of, I have enough for that. And I just take a little bit out every month. And that's it.
I think everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised with how little of their hex bag they have to sacrifice compared to the USD value they get for it during this run up, during the sacrifice phase. So I think if you've secured your hex liquid bag by now, I think you're going to enjoy the USD appreciation quite significantly moving forward. It's good.
Bunch of moon boys. Do you guys ever think like sometimes I'm like, I wish I staked the larger sums longer before the big payday. Like I did some long for sure, but it's like I kind of wish I had more now, knowing what I know now.
I mean,
I did like larger chunks.
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of things I would have done. I would have.
That's always 2020.
Yeah, I would have consolidated more, just like you said. I'd have larger chunks. I'm pretty happy with my staking average is like somewhere between 10 and 11 years, so I'm happy with that. I just would have consolidated more. That's all I would have really done at this point. I would have consolidated more, and I wouldn't be so fucking heavy at 10 years, because at the beginning when we were all learning this, we were learning the system, and Richard's like, I don't know why anyone would stake out past fucking 10.
Yeah.
Like, we only gave you bonus shares to 10. And then like a month later, after I made some decent sized 10-year stakes, he's just like, there's some big benefits with going out to, I mean, I still have my Quattro Cinco 6 as well, but I wouldn't have been as dogpiled as I was on the 10-year mark. So between consolidating and distributing my 10-year point a little bit better, I'm pretty content with everything else.
Yeah, I did a pretty good ladder for up till 10 years, and then 10 years I was like, big dump. And then I had another ladder for 10 to 15, but I would have
10 to 15 is going to be huge.
Yeah, I would have spaced it out much better.
It's it's funny too, because I have a feeling, at least early on, a lot of people are going to be very close to those stakes, and they're just going to want the money, and they're gonna end stake, and I don't think they're going to realize how much money those T shares in the system at that point generate you per day. Like, I mean, I guess you'll be able to do the math and look at it, but those numbers are going to be retarded every day that you keep those T shares in the system at that point past the 10-year mark. You're going to make so much money, or so much hex. Who knows what the price appreciation of hex is going to be at that point, but I have a feeling you are going to be stupid wealthy. But the amount of income that's going to be generating you past that 10-year mark every day any stake you have out further, it's gonna be a ton.
Yeah.
Single stake will be life changing for most people.
Yeah, if you do it long enough, for sure.
Yeah, Hex is going to single-handedly just get rid of the CD market and traditional finance in 10 to 15 years.
Well, like the market caps though will be stupid, so it's like, and I don't think it will be comparable, you know.
No,
to like the CD market.
it won't be.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's obviously very different. But
Yeah, it's the only thing I
Yeah.
mean, CD is very loose, right? Like we just
Yeah.
did that to refer back to something that people could understand. And even then, most people, at least with the younger generations come up, they don't even know what a CD is because they're so useless now. They've been nerfed to nothing with the interest rate that you get on them. It's just not worth it.
They don't have bank accounts or credit cards.
Yeah.
You know?
Lock up your money for years at a time and still lose out on inflation. Like no one with a brain is gonna do that deal.
I have a 23-year-old friend. He's like, I keep no money in my bank account. Everything's in my wallet, my MetaMask. That's my bank account. And I was like, that's badass. Like, there's this 23-year-old.
I'm at now.
Yeah.
It's just too much opportunity cost in here.
Yeah. I did over-the-counter sales to some friends because they were going to lock it up and the fees were too high. And so
I hate giving up my crypto to my friends, but I have to do it sometimes for my no coiners. I hate it. I'm like Scrooge McDuck when it comes to giving it up. I'm like, no, I don't want your dirty fiat from Venmo or a Cash App. Like, I want to keep my crypto.
Yeah, but I did that, and I'm like, oh, there's too much money in my bank account now. I gotta move it back
get
over.
rid of that. Put it back in.
It's losing to inflation.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, inflation's been pretty. It's been increasing a lot, for sure.
All over,
you know,
houses,
reported and
cars.
unreported inflation. Someone like on Twitter posted something like it was really interesting. It was like commodities like up 25%, oil up 15%, crypto up 10x, real estate up 50%,
lumber 30%.
Yeah, Nasdaq up 40%, S&P up 30%. Dow up 25%. So it's like everything is up 25% plus in the last year and a half, year or so. But you're trying to tell me there's 2% inflation, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like
no way.
Inflation is definitely way faster than more than that than what they're telling people. And the quant guys have talked about it a million times.
Inflation's going through the roof. They're trying to propose and pass these tax laws that tax you more on the fucking fake ass money they're printing you, the inflated shit they're printing you. It's bad. It's bad. It's real bad. And like, it's weird. Like I never saw myself up to maybe this year really considering leaving the United States, but like it's really gotten to that point where maybe I do the Puerto Rico thing, maybe I do another country completely, but it's just like the tax laws just aren't friendly enough and the inflation's just getting too high, and it's a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm just not the biggest fan of.
Agreed.
It was funny earlier where T-Bird had a comment where he's like 500 T-shares is a lot of T-shares to have right now, and I agree with him. I know earlier on in Hex, I thought the sweet spot for most people would be 1,000 T-shares. That's like kind of your Goldilocks zone of I think you'll be very well off and do very well. And now just from our recent price appreciation, I think 500 T-shares is right on the mark with you're going to do very, very well. It's funny, as Hex does better and better, you need less and less T-shares to just change your life.
Yeah.
So get them while you can. Get them while they're cheap because they're not very cheap anymore.
Yeah. For sure.
So what do you guys think of the dump? That was a pretty intense day. I was watching it pretty closely.
I was chilling.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I saw it coming. I was helping onboard one of my buddies, and I saw Bitcoin just struggling to hold that 40% support, and then it just failed. I was just like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Here we go." I moved over I moved over some other liquid bags I had, and just put all that into USDC because I was like, "Oh, bloodbath's coming." And sure enough, it was nasty. Not for Hex, but everywhere else was bad. And even in Hex, I got to pick up a great dip at 4 cents, in my opinion. So I was very happy.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, the rest of the market is crying, freaking out, losing their mind. And I don't think I saw like one upset Hexagon. It was great.
Yeah. Like I saw that things started to dip and Hex was still up like 6 to 7%, and then Hex dipped after that, and so it was kind of like, you saw it coming, and then but even the Hex dip wasn't that much, so it's like, one, I'm staked, so I don't really care. But yeah, I thought it was just funny that all the Elon fanboys, they're all just upset with him now, and it's like, what, you guys didn't see this coming?
Yeah, going back.
I saw the comments on Twitter. Yeah, it says people complaining to Elon about losing their life savings.
Yeah, and then Elon said like something like, I wonder how those crypto experts are doing now. So like directly shots at Peter McCormick and what's his name, the other guy.
The real ones are doing just fine. But that's the problem when you take because at the end of the day, you can make money off just about any damn coin, right? Especially even some of these meme coins if you catch them right. But when you go to enter into a meme coin, like you're already on a table with like 3 rickety legs to begin with. Like you don't have much to stand on. You're essentially going in with the mindset of, this is my entry point. This is what I'm trying to exit. Potentially just dump on people because the project or the product or whatever it is, most of the things aren't even a product at this point. It's shit. So, but I'm literally going in there to just try to ride this pump and get out. And man, all it takes is for a meme coin, it just takes for Elon Musk to send out one tweet and it's a wrap. Like, no, thank you. I'd just rather be in I'd rather be in the 3 times audited, 100% trustless interest, proven product as opposed to a meme coin. The risk is just not worth it. And as y'all's bags begin to grow, a lot of you guys are going to be tempted to go out there and experiment. And I mean, there is some good stuff in the space. Like Richard says, there's not a single coin that solves everything. So there is some stuff out there, but be careful. Don't go out there just to speculate. Do your due diligence, just like you did with Hex, because you don't need to take those risky plays once. I mean, look what Hex has done for most of you guys now. It's built up a gigantic bag that you essentially have your financial freedom before you. Don't fuck it up. Don't ape into Doge, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, it's not recommended.
No.
Well, it did bounce back pretty well.
It did.
John,
No.
It's not recommended. Well, no, look at it. And there you go. That's the trap, right? It seems like, you get massive returns really quickly, and that's the trap. You're like, oh, I'll just get another quick 2x and I'm out. I'm taking my $1 million bag, and that's when it all goes to shit. That's when the market fails. That's when Elon wakes up on the wrong side of the bed next morning. It's just like, I'm gonna fuck over everyone at Doge. Like that's all it takes. And then you find yourself well, now you feel entitled to that money. You're like, well, I went from 500,000 to 200,000, and then you get greedy. It's like, well, I'll just hold this until it pumps back up, and then it goes down another 100,000. Like, well, I can't sell now, and then it goes down to 50,000. Next thing you know, you're like, well, this is worth $3,000. So it's just like, you got to be very, 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 very careful if you're going to go and do degenerative plays like that. More often than not, they're going to wreck you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's PulseChain game theory? Is this Steph's?
This is from Steph. Yes, the CEO of Staker.
I'm surprised he didn't modify this to his own Staker app leagues. I'm disappointed, Steph. That was prime opportunity to put your Staker leagues in here.
Yeah, you should.
I'll have to suggest him that. It's like, hey, redo that table for me with Staker leagues.
And his disclaimer here is it may not be part of what ends up being released, so don't take this for as a guarantee.
Not final at all. This is just a I think he's just been taking. He's heard of in Telegram and then just kind of sticking on it.
That's why it's like so hard to speculate and even do the game theory, because it's just like we literally don't know if any of this is going to be confirmed for the sacrifice phase. What parts will be accepted, which won't be. It's fun, but we just don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 tiers: gold, silver, bronze.
John, is that still the main consensus right now? It's just getting some sort of multiplier for the tier system. Is that what they're looking at? Just getting a multiplier, depending on what you
I'm
follow.
in that, like, I'm in the secret chat with the game theory people.
Yeah, I'm there. I watch.
Yeah.
I don't comment too much, but I watch.
Yeah. So like I've just been sporadically checking that, but it sounds like they're working on a lot of things, like the liquidity mining on the new chain, how to distribute like the tokens for like the liquidity pool, and which tokens do you give them incentive.
The DAO,
the
treasury,
DAO
all
stuff,
kinds of stuff.
the treasury. So
it almost seems like too much. I don't know if it's just them just spitballing and throwing a bunch out there, but it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's just spitballing at this point. So it's like no idea is a bad idea at this point, because we just want new creative things to emerge out of some,
just rolling with it.
Non-related, non-correlated things like might spark some inspiration. So I think he's just open to that. Because like I'm pretty sure he has most of the things set up in his mind already. It's just like he wants some feedback and see he's missing some large, like his blind spots. You know, it's like we all have our blind spots in certain areas of our life, and he's just trying to cover his bases and make sure that he's covering everything. That's so he doesn't make like a colossal fuck up and then be like, he can also blame the community, like, you guys didn't have my back, you guys didn't help me. You know, if something goes wrong too. So it's like a hedge. If he fucks something up too, I think.
Marcavelli says he got banned out of that chat. I could see that.
I saw you got banned.
I didn't see it take place, but I could see that. I could see that happening, Marcavelli. No offense, but I could see you.
I was watching it live.
Oh man, I might have to go back and read.
It's like right at the beginning. You have to go to the to the top.
Someone like forwarded that to me too. Just like, check this out. I was like,
Marcavelli getting famous for the wrong reasons.
He was saying some stuff, and Richard's like, "All right, give him the smack."
He said, "So apparently, some ideas aren't so good." All right. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk about was like the liquidity mining on the new chain. Like, what do you guys think that's going to look like? Is it going to be like QuickSwap 2.0? Or he definitely said there's going to be a Uniswap.info for Pulse, or for Pulse Uni.
You think if he does
be that? But like, I think that's going to work on the new chain.
Do you think if he does? I think if he does liquidity mining, he'd probably go with the 2 token route, right? The second token just being some sort of inflationary token that you can just use the inflation system to be the liquidity mining rewards for people to come in and liquidity mine, maybe something like that. If he decides to go the 2 token, I think if he does the liquidity mining, I think he'll do the 2 token route. If he doesn't, I think he might just stick to 1, which be simpler. But I think it's weird because I've seen liquidity mining do very well. To me, it doesn't make much sense though, because it seems like liquidity mining just becomes a game of just mine it and dump it. But then somehow QuickSwap just went parabolic, which I still don't quite understand how that happened. But everything
I
goes.
do actually.
Okay, explain it to me, because I was like, I don't see how QuickSwap gets out of this rut, because to me, it was a valueless token that was just getting collected and then dumped.
Well, I've just noticed that it's pretty correlated to the performance of Matic. Matic's done really well.
Okay.
So whenever Matic pumps, it'll technically pump with it, and then also I noticed that it got caught by some large whale traders on crypto Twitter. And I think they were just like entering large bags into it, in a small liquidity pool.
Right.
You can pump it, as we know, it can pump pretty fast on hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think that's just
some of those whales can go in there and literally own anywhere between 50 and 80% of a pool if they so choose. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was mostly it, I think. There he is.
Hey, Scotty.
What's up, Scotty?
Scotty, nice shirt.
Yeah, another Asian.
Man.
Let's go.
Smile.
We'll get pulled down.
Squinty eyes. Squinty eyes smile. Can you guys hear me or no?
Yeah. Good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear us though? That's the question. Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you, but I don't know if you can hear
I
us.
try and talk low. Yeah, I hear you definitely.
Are you watching?
Yeah, I just
are you on
jumped
the?
in.
Are you?
I think you might be on a delay a little bit. Are you watching
Are
on
you watching
YouTube
the
or are you
stream
on
my
the free
delay?
stream?
I'm on the restream.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind us.
I'm delayed.
Try to connect. Try to disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
John said, "Get the fuck out," but come back. Come back.
No. Sky's my boy. We're always DMing each other and talking about Pulse and Hex and stuff. So he's like the expert in the liquidity mining stuff. So I think that's why he jumped in right now.
Perfect. He can correct all our fallacies.
And he's like, I had to put my kids to bed first, so I think that's what he just did.
All right.
Are we good now?
Let's hear it. Let's.
All right,
I think
so
you're.
I believe we are.
You're the
Are we good now?
liquidity mining expert. So I wanted to know what you think the liquidity mining is going to look like on the new chain on Pulse.
Okay. Yeah. So just a recap. I missed putting my kids to bed and stuff like that. So I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Or I'm just jumping right in. So I'm just going to go from there.
Liquidity mining.
Really just Pulse and yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been busy fucking onboarding people all day, nonstop doing. So I'm basically like, I'm not even doing my job anymore. Like I just stopped working. So like my business, like I barely run my business anymore. Like I just don't give a shit about my business anymore. I'm all about Hex, Pulse. That's all I'm doing now. It's just onboarding people. I'm basically like technical support for people too. When they're calling me, they have no idea what the hell is going on. So I'm walking them through everything. But all right, so liquidity mining. Okay. Hold on. Oh man. Hold on a second.
All right. That build up was a little anticlimactic. This kid's probably escaped the room. Let's see.
Hey, Red Cold.
Scotty Kim.
Scotty Kim. Someone said,
okay.
Our foe.
I'm back.
Okay.
And yelled at. It's getting yelled at. I'm being too again. Okay, so let me go like this. All right, let me go like this. Is this better? Is this better?
I mean, it's fine for us. I don't know about your wife.
I think your mic's right here, so
probably not good. No. All right. So
leaning in doesn't do anything.
This shit is huge. Liquidity mining for Pulse. It's going to be like one of the major driving factors of making all these coins, like all these free coins, all the P coins, having any worth or value, because people are going to have their P Uni and their P Aave or whatever it may be, or P Link. I'm not sure what the liquidity pools are really going to look like, but having these pools up, whatever they may be, hopefully there is something like P Uni Pulse or something like that going on. Obviously, we should probably have P Hex Pulse, but having liquidity mining up will give validity to these coins that are free, for everybody. And hopefully maybe they can get parity with the real thing, with the real Ethereum coins or whatever. Because, Pulse is obviously going to have value because, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty much aping in. And I think everybody is, for the most part, is aping into Pulse. So, Pulse is going to have value that way. And so you're going to have it paired up with like Pulse and like, let's say P Uni or whatever. People are going to have to buy if they don't have P Uni even, or enough P Uni, if they ape into Pulse or whatever, and they have a lot of Pulse tokens and they only have a little bit of Uni tokens, or they have no P Uni tokens, then you're talking about people actually having to either purchase more P Uni tokens in order to participate in the liquidity mining. So it could be huge. It's going to give value to all these. Sense. Yeah, it's going to give value to all these free tokens, so to speak.
Right, because if you want the other side of the pair, you're going to have to purchase it and start giving those P versions of those ERC20s value, or those former ERC20s.
It's liquidity mining, I think, is the biggest. It's the biggest thing for Pulse. I think one of the biggest fundamentals for Pulse.
I can see that.
Because if you have I have a nice bag of Uni that I didn't sell that I got for free. And I know that I will love to liquidity mine with my PUni and my Pulse. But other people are probably going to have PUni, and they're going to want to, then if they don't have Pulse or they missed the launch or whatever, and they have the whole big bag of PUni they're going to be sitting on, they're going to have to buy Pulse in order to participate with the liquidity mining. So this shit is huge. Like I cannot wait for this stuff to start.
Yeah. So you pretty much would say it would almost be stupid for Richard not to include liquidity mining for PulseChain.
I think I'm hoping that it's going to be launched at the start. I could see it maybe added later on.
Added later, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a huge marketing thing. You got all this free coins, mine with them, liquidity mine with them, get more free coins. I mean, I think it's gigantic. And I think it's better if it does get released simultaneously with the release of PulseChain, because man, if you don't have the system complete, or you don't have those proper pump-a-middles or pulse-middles in this case in place on the release, you lose that momentum, you lose that hype, you lose that interest. Whereas let's say we bring that liquidity mining at a later date, maybe a couple months later, we could have lost a lot of onboarding that we could have potentially had from the start. And we find ourselves just treading water, trying to get to where we could have been if we just had it all ready to go, released at the same time. To me, it kind of reminds me of like Staker app. As much as I love Staker app, it's incredibly hindered by the fact that we just don't get a wallet on the start, and we just can't because of the fact of how much it costs being on the Ethereum blockchain. It's too expensive with gas fees right now. Yeah, I completely agree, and that's why I think that I think Richard could probably launch now if he wants to, in terms of like the sacrifice phase. But I think he wants to get his ducks in a row first and make sure he can get these fundamentals in, whether it be liquidity mining or something with like a DAO set up. I mean, I'm not as familiar with like the whole DAO kind of stuff.
Me either.
I haven't really dived into that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm only familiar with, let's say, the governance of Uni, which is like fake crap governance anyway. So I mean,
but it pumps.
But Uni pump like fucking hell, man. So I mean, it's whatever it takes. I mean, and that's the big thing about the liquidity mining as well, because Uni did that too in the beginning. I think that was a nice driving factor because it also led me to buy even a little bit more Uni, so I could mine. So I mean, it's just going to be huge fundamentals all around.
We were talking about that earlier. I think it was like you just touched on. It's really not about the sacrifice phase. I don't think that's what he's waiting on. Like you just said, I think it's him getting his ducks in a row as far as PulseChain goes coming up, because he wants those to be released as close together as possible, as opposed to sacrifice phase is easy. It's just a couple little details, try to make it an even playing field, how to gain the most adoption, get the most USD value entered into the system. But I think it's really coming down with Richard trying to hammer out the details on PulseChain, make sure that he can follow it up shortly after the sacrifice phase, and we don't go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months out and still no PulseChain, because I think that would be a huge hit for all those people that just essentially sacrifice such a huge economic mass and then just be sitting there with their thumb stuck up their ass for like next 3 or 4 months. That would not be a good look moving forward.
Yeah, but I've just been just nonstop. I don't know about you guys, but
I think you want the
okay. You want to go?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've just been nonstop onboarding. Like it's been like a mania, because I get people that are coming to me now that are like, I see Doge is pumping. This is before the whole crash, obviously, and all these coins are going crazy. And I was like, I know you were talking my ear off about crypto 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, I think I should listen now. And what should I get? What should I buy? And I was like, well, I mean, you're coming at me at the perfect time right now, because we're launching this thing called Pulse, yada, yada. I mean, it's the perfect sell, because all you got to do is tell people, like, especially no coiners, that, look, you're going to be, if you get, the idea situation is, did you touch, John, when I texted you or told you or whatever, like that the ideal layout, like where you're telling no coiners, did you touch on that at all, or not really?
No, we didn't touch on that yet. No, we didn't touch on onboarding at all. Just talking about Hex and shit.
All right. So maybe I should pivot there, I guess. I don't know. Why not?
Sure.
No, just go ahead. Just keep going.
All right.
Good.
So what I've been doing is that I've been setting everybody up with, I see Pulse, and I think Richard also says this too. I see Pulse as it's probably going to outperform Hex in the very short term. So if you're telling people to basically, there are no coins, they have no coins right now, I'm telling people, look, allocate all your funds 100% to Hex right now. Take half of that, and I would set up a little bit of a mini staking ladder. It depends on how old you are. So if you're like 50 or older, I would recommend maybe don't go maybe max 5 years out, and set up a little bit of a mini staking ladder with half of that Hex you have, and maybe go just a 2-year stake, 3-year, and a 5-year, just to test out the waters. Because right now you're getting it at the perfect time, because you're about to double your coins when Pulse comes out. You're about to get double the Hex stack basically, which is huge for anyone that's just entering the space. And I always tell people that, people always tell you that there's no such thing as free money in the real world, and like crypto, that's all there is free money, nonstop, everywhere you look.
Everywhere
so
it's being printed.
it's crazy.
Yep.
You get your airdrop, you got airdrops everywhere. So you're gonna get the same thing with Pulse. You're gonna double basically your Hex. So I tell people, look, do half of your Hex. It depends, and again, it depends how old you are. So if you're younger, if you're like 30, 40, in your 40s, then I tell people, okay, then do half your Hex. Set up about 3 stakes, or 4 stakes, go 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, 15. Split them up equally. So now you're allocated. And so now this is what you're going to do, though. So your other half of your Hex, you're going to allocate that to Pulse. And then when it launches, I'm thinking about, I don't know, a year, maybe a year and a half later, this should like, I don't know, 100x, whatever the fuck it's going to do. It can go to some crazy number. And once it hits those crazy highs or whatever, 100x, whatever it may be, sell half of that half of that Pulse for Hex. And then you can start filling out that ladder that you made, and probably do it on the Pulse side, because the fees are going to be like dead cheap. So fill out that ladder you just started creating. Put in, let's say you're on the younger side, so you have the 2, 5, 10-year, 15-year stakes. Then fill it out, like start doing some more 10 years, do some 11, do maybe 9, 8. Just fill out that ladder. And the idea is you want to be able to, hopefully you invest like, I don't know, like $5,000 or $1,000 you have into Pulse, and that turns into 100,000, $500,000, whatever. And you can then set yourself up with a nice, passive income in Hex. That's the goal. I mean, that's where, we're all sitting pretty. I mean, us OGs or whatever that are in early, is that the end game is retirement, and like Richard Hart retirement, like in your 30s. And sit on your ass, do whatever you want, and you can just sell your Hex interest and restake your principal until you keep pushing those T-shares out and get as many T-shares as you can, as long as you can, and create yourself that passive income ladder. That's huge. That's the dream. And that's what I'm telling everybody that I'm onboarding.
That's similar to mine. It's usually hitting because they don't have as much Hex, right? So it's hitting those milestones, like you said. Mine's usually at least like a 3 stake, somewhere around the 5, 10, 15 year. Adjust maybe where there's less supply coming out from those big milestone points. But and then after that, it's keep the rest liquid, be flexible during Pulse. As we price appreciate, you can probably sacrifice a fraction of your Hex bag, get what you were planning on buying a Pulse anyways, still keep your Hex bag, and then reallocate as once you get the snapshot and we start moving into PulseChain. And it just gives you more flexible options coming in. Whereas a lot of us OGs, we can be a little bit more crazy with our liquid bag because we have those ladders in place already. So it's a little bit of a switch up on the onboarding process as far as trying to get them the optimal setup moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the biggest pitch for no coiners is you double your Hex
for free.
Yeah, for free. Free money again, amazing.
Yeah.
And you're getting in at the start of a project, just like how we all got into the start of Hex. And you saw the mad gains that we got. And so I mean, that's the pitch for no coiners, really. I mean, and the pitch for anyone else in crypto, because I've been on Telegram shilling as much as I can, Pulse. And all you got to do is just go like, do you guys know of Pulse? And like, no. Okay. So, you're about to double all your shit. You're about to get free shit of everything. It's the biggest airdrop you've ever seen. And you're like, what? And you got to explain to them, like, you love your link, right? Okay, you're going to get a whole another bag of link on Pulse. Like, really? Okay, talk to me more. So that's basically you have to pitch the crypto community. I mean, it's going to double what they want.
The crypto community loves airdrops. If you couldn't tell, we love airdrops. We love free money. It's like you will see the world's largest airdrop on PulseChain, bar none. The Uni airdrop does not come close to it. It will be the largest airdrop seen in the history of cryptocurrency. Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want to own the coin that's going to be on the ground floor of that at the very beginning, day one? Yeah, I think you do.
I mean, also Pulse is just an optional thing, right? Like for the most of my onboarding, it's like we start with Hex, tried and true, and you're getting a copy. From there, once we're satisfied with the stakes, then we talk to Pulse if you're more advanced. But if they're just like a straight up no coiner, like they can always invest in Pulse later too. It's not like they have to FOMO in on day one, So it's like I'm still focusing on Hex as the core, and then I'm saying, for a bonus for being in Hex, you're getting the Pulse too. That's how I usually talk about it.
I like that. The only caveat I say to that though is like there really is, like Scott was saying, there really is something special about being on the ground floor, knowing that you were there on day one. Like, sure, I spent way too much fucking Ethereum on day one and put like 8 ETH on day one, but I still like, to me, it's still like a badge of honor. I continue to DCA out, but like I've been there from day one. Since Hex's conception, I was able to do one of the first stakes. I was able to do one of the first purchases. I was able to do one of the first like Bitcoin or the Hex claim for your Bitcoin. Like I was able to do all that stuff. And like, that'll always be like a badge of honor and kind of keep me endeared to the community and to the product that is Hex. So there is some merit to saying just being there at the beginning at conception. And I think it gives you a much more loyal, interactive community base being there from day one than maybe coming in later after Hex, which is fine. But I think it just gives you that extra little spark that you might not necessarily get if you come in like a couple months later, like, oh man, I wish I had been here since day one and everyone else was doing this crazy thing. I heard about the sacrifice phase and all this. Like let them be a part of that. It can be a much smaller percentage, but let them enjoy and be a part of something like that, just like we were in the launch of Hex and defending ourselves from fudders and rallying together as a community. I think there's a lot of merit in just the intrinsic value of just being there from the initial start.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is just like it's harder to explain Pulse and have them send coins to a certain address and all that and get the Pulse like on their own. So it's like maybe I'll do an allocation for them. I don't know yet, but
it could be a lot. It could be a lot of hand holding, depending on the level of your onboarding. It could be a lot of hand holding, and I've seen it already. It's getting to the point. Like I can imagine where Scotty's at. It gets to the point where a lot of your time gets eaten up with it.
Yeah, you just have to speak to whoever you're talking to. Like if I have some friends that they're just looking for some degen activity, I'm like, sure, go ahead and buy some Pulse. But I'm not gonna like
opens up the trench coat. Like, how much Pulse do you want?
Yeah,
I got a dog coin I could recommend to them.
Yeah, crap.
But then there's some other guys that like they've they kind of got into Hex like maybe July, August, and they've been pretty hardcore about it. And I'm gonna spend the time to teach them how to, this is the address you want to send it to, and this is where it goes, and this is what I might do, and this is what you can do with your allocation and things like that. So just I guess to each person. And I've been chilling Pulse a little bit more since I talked to Motley that one stream. So yeah, it's but yeah, it really depends on who you're talking to.
It's like it's the virality effect. So like I mean, I have friends that put in like $1,000, like 4, 5, 6 months ago, whatever, and that $1,000 turned to 35,000 with Hex, and they're like, now they're talking about it to everybody. Yeah. So it's when they put that $1,000 in, it turns into 2 or 3. They're like, all right, whatever. But when it turns into 35, and they 35x their money, then they talk to everybody about it. So that's the thing. So that's why I kind of want, if I'm talking to no coiners, I want them to allocate some of that Hex. That's why I say at least half. I want them to to experience. I want them to experience the beginning of something great, and I think that's what Pulse is going to do. And I think it's going to be face ripping, like X's, whatever it's going to do, just like Hex did. So I need them to experience that. So the quicker they can experience that, the quicker they can get the virality out. Tell their friends like, what the fuck, what am I experiencing right now? This is insane. You have to see this. You have to check this out. Check this thing out. It's just
the funny thing is, I think you're going to get the face ripping simultaneously with Hex too. Like it's going to be great. I honestly do think both are going to be face ripping during this whole process.
They're going to feed off each other.
Yes. Yeah. They're intertwined.
100% agree.
Richard's done a very good job at intertwining the two, where they work and they're symbiotic of each other. They're going to go to the moon together.
the BitBoy thing.
Did you guys watch a stream with Nerd Girl? I haven't seen it yet.
I just watched it. I didn't get to watch it live, but I just watched it earlier. It was one of the better ones. She didn't let him off the hook too much, so that was nice. And BitBoy gave some stupid responses, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But essentially, the way I saw it is BitBoy tried to explain that he sold his Hex to save his partner that got hacked. But meanwhile, he's not a fan of promoting Hex because he doesn't understand it, even though it saved his partner, helped him financially recover from being hacked. Meanwhile, he's out there shilling everything else. So it's a lot of his shit just didn't really add up, and you could see him trying to go back and forth, and none of it was really making sense or connecting. So I found it kind of entertaining, but I don't know.
I think did he post that video on his own channel, or is it just on Discourse?
No,
I think it's just on DS.
Yeah. Okay. No, he's not going to want the controversy. So, I think Nerd Girl did an amazing job. I love her interviews. I love the Building Bridges series stuff that she does. I love all the episodes that she does. It's really great. But I understand where BitBoy's coming from. I mean, look, he's got 1 million subscribers. He doesn't want to stir any pot, so he's going to wait until way later, which is fine. So he'll buy our bags higher, all right? So, and he'll have his audience buy our bags way higher, because he's going to wait to talk about Hex when it's in top 10 on CoinMarketCap,
on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko.
Yeah, and that's when he's going to wait, because he's going to be forced to talk about it. He doesn't have a choice anymore. He has to talk about
until Nomics just becomes number one. I like that alternative better than the other.
That'd be great. I wish that'd be perfect, but he's not gonna have a choice. He's gonna have to talk about it, because I think Pulse is gonna open up a ton of gates, for especially Hex.
I agree, Scotty. I think he's just conservative and he can't really speak out, and there's no upside in it for him. Really. Exactly. It's only downside. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he might even have a bag and he just doesn't talk about it. So it's like he's probably just he's forced. His hand is forced in that sense.
Yeah, he really could. I mean, but
I think he's just kind of a fuckboy at this point. But if he comes along and buys the bag later, that's fine by me too.
Yeah, I've been calling him bitch boy, but whatever.
Yeah, bitch boy works as well.
Yeah, but I mean, Pulse is going to open up all the gates, because everyone's getting these free fucking coins. They're going to want to talk about it nonstop. Yeah. And then Hex is going to be right up there with the liquidity mining. It's going to be in your face.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously, Pulse has got a lot of potential. It's just a new network, right? So there's inherently more risk. So everyone wants to FOMO in. It sounds great. I'm just saying, percentage-wise, you don't need to put a huge percentage of your portfolio into it to realize the gains, right? You can if you want, but
so Scotty and I will become Pulse whales. John will be a solid mid-tier Pulse dolphin.
I'll be a squid, maybe. Be a squid.
Maybe a dolphin squid. You can be a dolphin with some squid tentacles coming out.
But you'll be getting yield too, though, because you could stake it, you could liquidity mine it. Delegate it. But Hex will always be higher on the APY as far as delegating versus staking. Yep. So it will still be the safe haven there for yield investors. And what's interesting is will the liquidity mining outweigh the yield of the staking on Ethereum or
that's
on
Pulse?
Yeah, because we need to. That's why I'm we need to make sure that
we need adoption for that, right? That's the biggest thing, because if we don't have enough transactions on it, then it's not as valuable as, like you said, like Ethereum staking or something like that. So it really just comes down to just like everything else, just adoption, transacting, just getting as many eyeballs and people coming over to our pond to play as opposed to Ethereum. And then we free up Ethereum's gas fees at the same time. So it's a win-win.
Makes it easier for people to use the bridge and come over to Pulse.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Because like, what do you guys think will happen if, like, let's say ETH fees go back to what it was in the bear market? Like, will just everyone be transacting back on Ethereum again, or will everyone just still be on Pulse? You know, it's like, is it just the fees that people don't like, or is the Pulse going to offer something more in addition to just the fees being low?
Yeah, so here's the thing that can help negate that. So like, even if the fees go down, the S load cost being like 2 something X is still going to be 2 times more, even in the bear market, what it was, what you were paying for the end stake. So it's still going to be pretty bad, and it's not going to be like $1,000 bad to end a stake, but it could still be like 100, 200, maybe $50 or whatever to end a stake, and that's still pretty bad. It's not great. I mean, it's way better than $1,000, but that S load thing is pretty bad.
That's a little bit more hex focused though, right? Like I know there's still other projects and other coins out there that use S-load, but I wouldn't say it's the majority. I think it is mainly hex, and there are a couple other coins out there that rely on it, but it won't be the entire space. So
sure,
it'll be a mix. And I think it's just really the virality, the adoption. How many Pulse mentals can you add to our side of the ecosystem to, yes, attract them in, but then retain them later? And then this goes back to, again, John, just by bringing new no coiners and letting them be a part of that ground floor Pulse, because just like you have Ethereum loyalists and freaking HexAsians that have been here since day one, you endear those people from the beginning to Pulse, and like they might never leave the Pulse ecosystem because of that. So that could be huge as we continue to grow on or grow over time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to participate. It's just, I think like everyone else, just waiting to see all the actual details and how it performs, I think will also dictate, like, because when we ripped up in last April on the God Whale Wick, like everyone after that point was scrambling to buy more, right? Because we thought that we didn't want to miss the boat. We thought we were going much higher.
That was me.
And we ended up being right. It just took a little bit longer than expected.
That was me.
But it's like, so if Pulse does something like that too, there might be more interest after the pop.
You talking about the initial God Whale Wick? Like all the way back when? Like
in April, yeah. 22, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I was the only guy in the chat that was like kind of pissed because like I was the only guy in the chat. Man,
didn't have enough.
Yeah, I was only. I was like, what was it? It was like FOMO regret or some crap. It was like no, it was like I don't know what.
It's just greed. We always just want more.
Yeah, Richard was actually calling me out like, you're the only guy in chat that's kind of pissed right now. I mean, just like you're the only guy in chat. So I was like,
being a bitch.
I was saying to myself like, fuck, this is real. This is real, and I wasn't taking it as serious before. And then we hit that 2x. I was like, oh, fuck, this is real.
Yeah, same. That's when I was like, okay, this is here to stay. Yeah. And it never went back down. I was like, I aped into it at that point. Like, whatever I left, I just,
Well, I aped it more.
Yeah.
So, like, if Pulse does that, my argument would be there would probably be a similar ramp up of adoption, just because people are like, oh, shit, it actually is legit. It is working. Richard Hart is not just, not just Hex. He can do other things. And then it could take off from that point. So maybe we see that in the sacrifice phase, or maybe we see that shortly after launch. Who knows, right? Because there are going to be a lot of people playing games trying to acquire cheap Pulse through pools and through all these other strategies, I'm sure, throughout the early days of Pulse. There's going to be a lot of weird stuff going on, I'm sure.
I mean, at the same time, too, John, you got to think you're in a very fortunate position to be where maybe a lot of people aren't. Like being an OG Hexagon and being in early on puts you in a very favorable position to, I know you're saying, be careful and test the waters and maybe not go too crazy. You don't necessarily need to if we get the face ripping that we think we're going to get from Pulse. But I mean, why not take that opportunity? Like Hex was once in a lifetime opportunity. I remember like I squirted myself, my younger self, when I didn't fully understand Bitcoin or finance or investing as well as I do now, that I remember making a vow to myself after I saw Bitcoin succeed that I was never going to miss that opportunity again. So that's why I just went balls deep when Hex came out, and now we're getting a second opportunity to do that with Pulse. And then you also have the added benefit to probably have the #1 crypto in your corner from day one that's just earning you an amazing stack. So in my eyes, all of us on screen right now are fully protected. I think you will do tremendously well in Pulse. Why not take that opportunity to maybe invest a little bit more, maybe even a little bit more than you're comfortable with, just because look what Richard has done, look what the ecosystem has done, look what the community has done. Why not take that? I don't even consider it taking a chance at this point, because as far as I'm concerned, everything has proven itself, and we have the #1 crypto in our back pocket right now. Why not have the #2 crypto to go alongside it? Take that opportunity. I wouldn't hesitate on pulling the trigger and doing a decent amount when it comes to investing. I know I won't be, and I don't think Scotty's going to either.
Yeah, I know Scotty's aping it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That guy can't wait. He's fiending for the sacrifice lobby.
I cannot wait for liquidity mining, especially. I can't wait for that shit. It's going to be so much fun. That's all I'm thinking about.
Grab your pickaxes.
People love the liquidity mining. They're addicted to it.
Free money.
Yeah.
Checking it all day, every day.
I want Pulse, but I want to get more Pulse.
More Pulse, more Hex, more Pulse Hex. Buy Ethereum Hex if it dips. It's just so much money. And we were talking about it earlier, Scotty. If Ethereum 2.0 ends up being contentious, and we could end up getting another copy of our Hex, if Ethereum 2.0 actually ends up being a hard fork of Ethereum, it's just Hex for days.
It's great.
Okay, so I have a hypothetical for you guys. So let's say everything's launched, everything Pulse is out, Pulse Hex is out, everything works great on the new chain. And let's say we just get a global 50% dip, like we just had, across the board. And you got fiat to throw in. What are you throwing it into? Are you throwing it into the ETH Hex? Are you throwing it into P Hex? Are you throwing it into Pulse? Are you throwing it into the ETH, or Bitcoin?
So what's the system state now? So
let's just say everything launched. We're already Pulse is launched, and Pulse Hex exists, and everything works there. And let's just say everything in the crypto markets fell 50% overnight, like it did recently. And you have fresh fiat to buy. What would you allocate to? You have so many options now. You'll have ETH Hex, you'll have ETH itself, you'll have Bitcoin, you'll have Pulse Hex, and you'll have Pulse. So what are you gonna buy? I think
it's easy, because if this is after PulseChain is launched and we sustain something like we just did, or maybe even more severe, I think honestly at that point in the cycle, I think we've reached our blow off top. I think that the scenario you're explaining might be the blow off top of the bull market if we get to that point. So at that point, I think we'll see death, and we might not see that rebound. So for me, I want a majority of my money into assets that are going to generate me yield. So we already are familiar with the best tool for the job, which is going to be Hex. So I would continue to increase my Hex position I would just DCA in, as if it started dipping, I would just DCA in just so I can continue to increase that yield, increase my bags, because we have years of bear market coming. And then also probably start looking into essentially just figuring out different ways to maximize my yield through a bear market. So staking Hex, delegating my stakes on Pulse, because my large Pulse stack, I'll be doing that, liquidity farming with the pairs that I feel comfortable with like that. It's just essentially, how do I continue to grow my bags and acquire more bags in the bear market so everyone on screen here can become a whale next cycle.
Yes.
Scotty, do you want to answer this question?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Sure. Well, it depends when this 50% correction happens or whatever. So, if it happens, let's say months from now, and it depends also what the assets do. It depends what P Hex is going to do, E Hex is going to do, Pulse is going to do. If they start dropping a little bit with it, because I can foresee if a panic like that happens, I could see other people panicking even on Hex or on eHex or Pulse or pHex, I could see panic across the whole thing, because you could see we even had a little bit of a panic here. Like it was a lot less though. But you could see it was a little bit correlated. It was a 50% drop in everything else, and then Hex moved a little bit with it. It looked like it was coming up, and then it got dragged down like 10% or something like that. I don't know what it was in the chart. Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, if it does that kind of drop and it's a nice obvious dip or buying opportunity I'd probably want to allocate into both pHex and eHex. Probably a little bit more on pHex side, because the fees are just going to be cheaper or practically zero.
You might get a deal on eHex. You might get a deal on eHex though too. It might be enough to outweigh the fees. And if we are heading into the bear market, then maybe that little difference between pHex and eHex isn't as substantial, and maybe the T-share price is already essentially there's a disparity between the T-share price at that point between PulseHex and eHex. So like it's going to be interesting to see if those two end up reaching parity at some point, which I think they very well could.
I was just going to say, if these two reach parity, then first of all, that's fucking amazing. If they can just keep parity, and maybe eHex is like maybe 10 or 5% less because of the fee difference or whatever, because it's so much easier to go in and out on pHex as opposed to eHex. But if they keep parity or close to it, and you see a nice dip on one of them, then it's like, I got to buy that one. It's clear as day.
Yep. Just ping pong back and forth.
Yeah, that makes it clear as day. So yeah, it's going to be really fun or interesting to see what a bear market does to these assets. I'm assuming maybe, I don't know what would happen for Pulse, because it's going to be so relatively new in its launch. But I mean, we had huge dips in Hex too when it was first launched. So there's volatility everywhere, really.
I think that's why it's important for Pulse to come out. I mean, I don't want it to be rushed, but I think there is a very crucial time window that we do need to release during this cycle, because I think we need to acquire as many eyeballs, adoption, and I need everyone to experience the mad gains they need to with Pulse before we start going into this potential blow off top end of the bull cycle. Like, I think this is very, very, very crucial. Let's say Pulse just gets delayed, and we miss the bull cycle, that could be detrimental. I might not be as bullish on Pulse anymore if we miss that time window, if we just start getting delayed too much, right? So I think there's a reason why Richard just keeps setting these deadlines for himself, because I think he realizes the importance of that as well.
I mean, I don't see this getting delayed, really, to be honest, because I said initially that this was probably going to be a lot quicker than people were saying, 6 months to a year, whatever, this to come out. I was like, this isn't Hex in terms of starting from scratch. Yeah, from scratch. I mean, Hex was basically from scratch. You do everything. So you have a benchmark to work from when you're forking ETH or whatever. I mean, he's just really, he's really just ironing out the game theory on what he wants to do with Pulse. That's all we're waiting on, really. I think just making sure the game theory's there.
Game theory, and then whatever he implements, just make sure it doesn't break what's already in place.
Yeah, testing, obviously, to testing. I mean, you can't do audits because this software is always going to be changing. I mean, maybe you could do an audit, but I can't see why. Yeah, because I mean, you really can't, because you want to. If ETH gets a certain update that you like, you want to push it to Pulse, and that invalidates the update, the audit. Because you're changing stuff. So I mean, you don't really need an audit, but we're definitely going to hammer out in the test net or whatever like that.
Lots of test net.
Yeah, you gotta.
And we're already there. I mean, we're already in there right now. For our viewers,
the ones that don't know what liquidity mining is, could you real quick, Scotty?
Yeah, sure. So liquidity mining is just you have to have equal amount in terms of dollar amount of each token. So if there's a pair that is up for liquidity mining, so let's do Pulse examples. That could actually be a reality too. So you can have, let's say, P-Uni and Pulse would be a liquidity mining pair. So if Pulse is going to have obviously a certain value to it because everyone's going to be buying it and aping into it or whatever. So Pulse is going to have a value to it. So it's going to have the same dollar amount value when you put it into the pool. So I don't know if people are familiar with adding liquidity in general, but you have to have the same dollar amount of each pair. You put it in, and then you basically get a token. It's like a liquidity token or whatever. I don't know what the actual name of it's called. But you get this other token, and then when you have that liquidity token for the pair, you then put up that token, and then you're going to earn Pulse, whatever the set rate is. So if you're like, I don't know what it could possibly be. So I don't know if it's like, I'm going to take something out of my ass. So let's say it's like 10 Pulse a day. And you have 50% of the liquidity, then you'll be earning 5 Pulse because you have 50% of the liquidity. So that's how it works. Or it could be even better because there are also people that are kind of dumb and they put up liquidity and they don't realize that they can liquidity mine. So you can actually have more than 50% of the rewards for the liquidity farming or whatever, because they don't realize that they can put up that token and earn more, so to speak. That's basically what it is. It's just.
And the cool thing, if you missed it earlier when Scotty was talking about it, it could be a very large factor in what gives these copies of these ERC20s, so these PRC20s value.
Yes.
So if you want to come over and you want to mine that, let's say you want to mine P Uni, then you're going to have to buy, maybe you have to buy more, maybe you have to buy more of the Pulse token to have those essentially 2 equal pools like he was describing. You will have to purchase some, and you create supply and demand. And then you're going to start giving pairs where maybe a lot of people didn't think some of these PRC20s would get adopted, but now that there's these liquidity pools and people see opportunity in there, they're going to go in there and they will purchase it to get their equal amounts of the pool, and they'll go in there to farm. So it's a very easy way to gain not only just utility, but at the same time actually gain prices and adoption for these PRC20 versions of these originally ERC20 tokens.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it's going to be pretty huge, because if we can get these PRC20s to have value, or even reach parity, I mean, it would be insane.
That would be huge. Parity is key. If you can hit parity with any of these tokens, that's massive, absolutely massive. And the upside on that would be tremendous.
Yeah, because then it's word of mouth. Because then you got to tell people, oh, you have Uni, oh, you have Link, okay, well, you have double your money sitting on Pulse. So you want to do something. It's
at parity right now. Go get your coins.
That's the virality of it then, which makes it huge.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I think I did an okay job. Usually when I go technical, I usually maybe fuck up a little bit when I'm explaining stuff, but I think I did an okay job.
It's weird. It's weird, right? Because you might know it perfectly in your head, but when then you actually have to speak it and translate it, it gets a little muddled sometimes. But I think you did a very good job.
I'm used to talking to no coiners, not people that actually know their shit. So, so it's a little different for me.
Change of gears.
Yeah. We crossed back over 5 cents.
Good.
Nice.
That was
the HexAsians pump.
That was my second. That was my second entry point when I tried to front run Richard's stream. So I'm cool with that.
So from a macro perspective, do you guys think that dump signified a bear market now, or
hell no?
ETH right now is at 2,900.
I think it was more manipulation than anything. I think it was a very organized move.
Did anyone look at the chain analysis of who were the people selling large chunks of Bitcoin and Ethereum?
No, I saw some transcripts talking about this from one of the 4chan groups, and then it looks like Suzu and 3 Arrows might have been potentially involved. They made a couple of tweets about it later. Yeah. So I don't know who's on what side or what transpired, but I think this was definitely a more of a organized move in the space from some very large players. But I would almost bet with certainty this is not the start of a bear market. No way.
Yeah, I'm a little in between, so I'm not sure. So I was first of all, I was pining for. I mean, I'm talking to John all the time about like TA and shit like that, and where I think things are going. And I've been telling him all the time, like, yeah, we're gonna have a nice 40% dip. It's coming. I was in exact agreement with Richard too, and I was saying it right around. He was saying it too. I saw us fall out of the parabola, whatever, exactly what he said, and it just didn't look right. And it's like we haven't tested the 21-week EMA, weekly 21-week EMA for Bitcoin in a long ass time, and it was just due. But the problem was that we tested it, and then we just fucking fell right through, like everything. And the dump was way more massive than I could have hoped for, so to speak. Where it's almost like now it's a little nerve wracking because I mean I was expecting 40%, 42, maybe 45.
We get like 50, 55.
We went down. I'll tell you right now, and I have it open. We went
You
down.
hit like 1,800. I was surprised by that.
We had a 53% drop in Bitcoin.
53. Okay, yeah, I was
around
52.
And that's huge. That's like this is the bear market kind of drop. But I mean, you could also manipulate the hell out of this to spook everyone to thinking that maybe this is the start. So I'm in between because this is a nice bounce too. I mean, we're closing above. I mean,
that bounce was crazy, and then that makes me a little bit more bullish too because that bounce was nuts. Because when you were talking about onboarding earlier, I was like, oh, perfect. The market's bloody red, amazing. Yeah. Like I didn't get time to it today, but I was gonna onboard my whole office. So like this is beautiful. Everyone gets a discount. Bringing everyone in, and like I look at the entire market. I'm like everything is up 25%, and I'm just like, what the fuck. Like that bounce was retarded. It was so damn quick and so damn strong. I was just like, damn.
And here's the big thing too. So I'm looking at the daily chart for Bitcoin because I'm only talking about Bitcoin because Bitcoin basically drives the whole market. I mean, except for Hex. I mean, Hex kind of does its own thing a little bit. But if you're just talking about the whole crypto market, Bitcoin closed above its 200 daily MA, which that's a huge close. I was thinking that it would get to the 200 daily MA and test it. Wick down past like the 21 weekly EMA and get to the 200 daily MA, which is sitting at 40,100. I was expecting it to get there, or maybe hope it would get there, but then it just fucking fell right through it and went way down. It went down to the 300 daily MA, we haven't tested that shit in a long, long time, I think. I haven't actually looked back and checked, but that's what makes me a little bit like, I don't know, but also makes me like, I think the bull can continue because we're back above the 200 daily MA right now, that's enormous to get back above that.
Right.
I don't know any of the TA stuff, but like when I saw Bitcoin going sideways for a while, I was like, okay, we're going to have a drop here soon. And I still think there's a lot of bullish news going to come out about Ethereum. And I think that's going to drive the market more so than any news about Bitcoin.
Watch that flippening happening. Watch that shit happen this cycle. If that shit happens this cycle, holy fuck, you guys are going to see. I think this dip
makes it more likely.
See some shit. Yeah.
It'd be huge.
I'm just worried, like on the Wall Street cheat sheet, the one that everyone's seeing of like the emotions at every part of the cycle. I'm just worried that this is a complacency stage and everyone's like, okay, we're going back to normal. And boom, the trap door. And then now we're in a full-on bear market. So
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking.
Here's the thing that got me, that makes it iffy for me, because when you have these freaking, NFTs, whatever, going for these stupid prices, you got all these people aping into the dumbest shit. I mean, this is like the major sign.
Topping signals up the ass.
Topping signals up the ass. You had that dumb pi cycle indicator flash too.
I fucking hate yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in it really either. I think it's just like correlated from the past. But I mean, you got all this shit lining up perfectly. But here's another thing too. You guys know about like the minor capitulation signal on Bitcoin or whatever? You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
I talked to John about it like once or twice.
Tell me about it,
Yeah, there's like a signal. Yeah, so there's like, I don't know, when the miners freak out or whatever like that, and then their hash rate drops or whatever, it doesn't flash often at all. It only flashes like for the capitulation flash and like a buy flash. It only flashes like maybe 2 to 3 times a year, if that. Maybe even twice a year it flashes for a buy, and the buy signals are always spot on, and they're always on point. And so we had what's funny is that we had the capitulation signal where it's like, okay, you should probably sell a few weeks ago at 54,000 for Bitcoin. And that flashed, and then obviously you know where we are now. But then that buy signal is coming in, and it's going to come in soon. And that buy signal usually means that we're going to have a huge next leg up. Usually. I've never seen it not play out that way. So that's also making me lean towards, this bull, I think, is going to continue, is because of that signal.
Yeah.
That's just me.
It's slightly different too, right? Slightly different variables and parameters this cycle. Like this truly is the first cycle where we've seen these big companies come in, like that mainstream acceptance from traditional finance coming into crypto. Like that's huge. It really does alter the market. You have big players coming in with billions of dollars with stronger hands than most crypto plebs coming in, buying. I mean, their price floor, like where their entry points, I mean, I'm sure they DCA'd a lot of it, but their entry points are still very high relative to where Bitcoin's been sitting most of the cycle, or like it's been around there. So like, it's just different. There's too many unknowns now how we react. This could be an elongated bull cycle, which would be amazing. This could be the cycle where we finally see the flippening, which would be amazing. We get to see EIP 1559 in July. That shit's coming up in July. I think it's going to set the market on fire. Fire. This shit could get stupid, guys. Absolute numbers that you think can't even wrap your mind around what some of the shit's going to do. And I think that rocket could get lit come July. Once we get EIP 1559.
I mean, look at this. I mean, Ethereum was keeping pace with, what was it, 2017 Bitcoin, a run-up, whatever like that. It was keeping pace with that kind of, I got to go this way, whatever. This run-up or whatever. I've never actually done it before.
Yeah. I've done it enough now that I can do it without even thinking about it.
It's fucking weird as hell. And if it follows the same kind of trajectory that Bitcoin did in 2017, you're looking at a price of Ethereum of 18,000.
Yeah, I was thinking about 20. 20 is kind of what I'm on my
bone. And what's even great is that when you get these crypto asshole influencers calling for $100,000 Ethereum, then it's like, okay, great. So now my 18,000 target is realistic.
Easy hit.
Now it's realistic. Because if these idiots are calling for 100,000
now, thank you.
It's fantastic. So please keep calling for these stupid targets. So mine is more realistic.
Yeah, but, I think that 18 to 20 range is spot on, and I think that's where we get that. It'll be. I think it could be the cycle. I'm seeing all signs point to it. I mean, that's like the last like little narrative Bitcoin has on Ethereum, right? Just the scarcity, the factor. I mean, with EIP 1559 during a bull market with the kind of transactions they have going on, like ETH is going, the supply of ETH will go down, and then it's a whole new ball game. It's gonna get nuts.
PulseChain's doing it too.
Yep. And the beautiful thing is all that's going to be going off, and then we're going to be, and guess what? You think fees are bad now. They're about to get stupid. And Pulse is going to be the freaking knight in shining armor. It's going to be the savior of like, man, I love the fact ETH price is going up, but the fees are just insane. It just becomes a whales game. So then PulseChain gets to be the freaking hero to the common man, to the common no coiner that's in the space at the time.
I mean, you guys just saw what ETH fees just did a few days ago, whatever. It was over 1,000 Gwei or some crap. I mean,
you're talking 200, 300. You're talking $200, $300 like just to transact or swap. Like it's retarded. It's retarded. If you're not moving tens of thousands of dollars, then it's not worth your time. It's just not.
I had a friend that did a 10-year stake that day because he's like, in 10 years, I won't care about this transaction fee, but I need to get this in right now. So that was kind of cool.
Damn. Yeah, I had a lot of friends that are already like their Coinbase stuff cleared, like the USDC. They're ready to go, but they don't have a lot to allocate. They're maybe going to put 1,000, 2,000 in or whatever for Hex. And it's like, I'm glad that cleared now today, but if you see gas prices, your swap's going to cost you $300. So there's a third of your stack right there. So let's maybe not do it today.
Limit orders are your friends. I was going to do a video today, but then Vince invited me on, but I'll probably try to do a video tomorrow where just do a simple run through of just using like Matcha XYZ and using just setting limit orders so you guys can see how to do it. Some of you guys that might not be familiar with it, let the buyer come in and pay your gas fees because they're there, or it'll be just some like our bot that comes in and they'll get their little 1-2% arbitrage, and then you'll get your gas fees paid.
There's a little trick. If you have people you're onboarding that are no coiners that are putting in like $1,000 or $500, $2,000, you can make buys on Uniswap V1, and it's always 3x cheaper gas fees. So if you're paying 75 on Uniswap, it's going to be 25 or less on V1. Now the liquidity is a lot smaller, but if you're doing smaller buys and you're looking at the price, sometimes there's discounts, sometimes there's premiums. But if you're only pushing $500 or $1,000, you're not going to move the price that much that the savings in the gas cost is going to outweigh the price slippage.
I didn't even think about that. I totally forgot about V1.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, so it's a more efficient contract.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's a more efficient contract. So it doesn't take it doesn't do as much routing either. So it's always 3x cheaper. So like right now it's 70 Gwei. Let's see what the average transaction cost is. It's actually only 53 Gwei. So the swap right now for Uni average is $30. So on V1 it would be $10 right now. So that's pretty reasonable for someone that wants to get in with $500. Yeah, $500 or $1,000, $10. That's not a bad deal.
Good idea. I didn't consider going back to V1.
I had no idea. Yeah,
I didn't know how much liquidity. Can you check the liquidity?
You can look. Yeah,
like what the heck?
It's not that much.
I know.
I figured. I didn't think it'd be less than gas costs. That's I know that's why I never bothered with it. That's amazing.
Yeah, right now it's at 0.049. There's 11 ETH in there and 626,000 hex. So it's like, what is that? 40 Gs or so? Just not a good deal. Yeah, exactly. So check that out. And like I told some of the guys in the Telegram chats, and they did it with smaller amounts, and they were pretty happy. They're like, "Dope! I didn't know about this." So
yeah, if it's a couple $100, definitely.
And then if it's also like 5% or 10% cheaper, then you're getting even a better deal because you're getting a better price and you're getting lower gas fees.
It's true.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go in there and buy up all the liquidity now.
You'll see
next to the moon.
No, but then people can arb it down. Like if you buy it up too much, then like people can arb it back down and then sell it and then buy it on buy it on cheaper on the other one. Yeah,
you'll see like that HipPTC wick where it wicked to like 10 cents first day or some shit.
Something stupid,
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still Hex liquidity on Bidesk too. It's a centralized exchange, but there's no KYC up to like 5 Bitcoin.
That's nice.
Sometimes there's good deals on Bidesk too, because like people don't move their limit orders or so it's just like they're just sitting there as bids to buy or sell. Sometimes you can take advantage of that too.
Yeah, I always wanted to get around to doing that, but I'm always way too lazy to do it. Like go on like these really, I don't know, like Kraken and set like this is not for Hex or whatever, but like to set like a buy of ETH at like $300 or some stupid fucking number.
Try to get a flash crash.
It wicks there, like it happens. It's like a thing. I'm just too lazy.
You make so much money doing that.
And I just don't like fucking with centralized exchanges at this
That's
point.
true too.
You can do it on DEXs now, so
That's
like.
true too.
To me, it's just there's zero appeal. Like at the end of the day, just like having possession of my own keys and crypto is just like, to me, even the stupid Ethereum gas fees, it's just worth it to me. I can't bring myself to go on those. It's just a death trap going on those exchanges. They go down. Look during that bloody rundown we just had over the past couple of days, like. Didn't almost all the exchanges just go down essentially? Almost all of them. Yeah.
Trading was all halted.
Fuck that shit. No
it's
way.
Like
it's all
the people.
Everything's fine, hunky dory until it's not, and then it's awful. It's just straight trash.
I know, and it's like people. It's like how the Robinhood people felt too. It's like I can't trade, or like it used to happen on BitMEX too.
Just take that buy button, take that sell button.
It just gets like loaded, and then you can't do anything. While the
let
market's,
us let us dump on your head first, or let us actually get a little bit more than our fractional reserve we have on hand. Okay, like it's all shit. Get rid of it. That's what we're here for.
You definitely sleep better using DEXs.
Yep.
And MetaMask and hardware wallets. Like I sleep much better than
way better
holding on to exchanges.
That's another amazing thing with this cycle is just we've really seen it come into its own. Like, yes, there is a lot more opportunities for like we've seen rug pulls and stuff like this cycle, but the freedom to really just from A to Z almost of just financial sovereignty that you can do in crypto is amazing. It's just the last leg right now is just that fiat to crypto ramp, off ramp and on ramp. But even then, we might eventually finally get to that point where you just don't bring it off. You don't take it off anymore.
For sure.
It's a dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I gotta take off. Get some dinner.
Yeah, I probably got to balance too. I got to go do the night show here in the next
couple
minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we should shut this down since we're over 2 hours. You guys want to show yourself real quick, and then we'll just end it. Where can people find you guys?
I'll go first. I'm balls deep in Hex and Pulse now, and you guys can follow me on Telegram.
Shut up, Yashdeep.
Telegram, Twitter, Yashdeep369. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I don't stream that much anymore, but you can find me there too.
Cool. Motley Investor, we got a show tonight. It will be on Dollar Cost Crypto's channel, Knights of the Crypto Table. We will be going on here in the next 48 minutes. 38 minutes. So feel free to come tune in on that. You can find me on YouTube, Telegram, Twitter. It's all under Motley Investor. But yeah, tune in tonight for Knights of the Crypto Table. Should be pretty fun. And it is on Dollar Cost Crypto's channel tonight.
So what do we have to do for the golden chart this time?
I'll think of something. I'll hop off this and I'll think of a new requirement. We'll see. Okay. I need to get it. I need to do it enough where it's tantalizing to you guys, but like hopefully just out of reach. We'll see. We'll see.
I want to see it too.
Hex has to hit 7 cents.
I mean, I want to see it too, but if it's like the golden chart, I kind of don't want to see it because then I want it to come true.
That's why I gotta like set the bar like just far enough out of it, just enough to like tantalize the Hexicans to put forth the effort, but just out of their reach. It's a fine balance. We will see.
I'll go. You guys can reach me on Telegram. I'm John Wick at Golden Yachts, my username. You guys, anyone wants to touch base on like self-directed IRAs, 401ks, and stuff. Getting a lot of people hit me up about that and have some success with that. So that's been pretty cool. Or if you just have questions about Hex or some of the math or resources, I love to help people with that and just talk game theory and Pulse and Hex and all that. So I'll see all you guys in the chats and on the streams and stuff. So also just want to say, appreciate you guys streaming. I watch a lot of your streams and it's cool to keep it fun and exciting and interesting. And
thanks, man.
It's been a fun ride, and I'll see you guys. I'll see most of you guys in Vegas too. So
yeah, for sure. Vegas is gonna be fun.
I can't wait. It's a month away.
That Hex price. Oh my god. Hexicans are gonna be wilding out.
Yep.
I can't wait to see Kareem at the club. It's gonna be fun. All right, boys.
What about you, Scotty?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing that John said. I mean, I'm just on Telegram. That's it. And this is probably a good timing because my wife has told me to shut the fuck up like 5 times now, right? So it's probably a good time to end it here.
6 times the charm.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, you can find me on Telegram. Scotty does know, and that's it. So that's great. Always willing to talk. Love to talk Hex and Pulse.
Yep. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, and
take us out, Vince.
Yeah, you guys can find me on. Yep, you guys can find me on Twitter. 369. And with that, thanks for tuning in, guys, and